Hey everybody, I have a couple videos for you guys. Well, this one is going to be all about tips on cleaning your stencils, how to get a bunch of the gunk off if you don't clean it right away, and also how to keep your stencils from moving around while you are doing your ink blending or spraying or anything that you are doing with the stencils. And then in another video, I will have all of the techniques using all of the stencils. I was going to do it in one video, but after doing the cleaning tips and then also the adhering the stencil and keeping it in place tips, I realized that this video is already going to be about 15-20 minutes long, and I wanted it to be a little bit shorter video, but packed with a bunch of information for you guys. So I hope that you guys find this helpful. If you do, please share it on social media, and if you are new to my channel, I hope you subscribe and hit that bell so you're notified every time that I upload a video. And always, the supplies that I am going to be using are listed in the description box down below, so be sure to check it out and leave me a comment down below if you have any other tips on cleaning your stencils, maintaining them, and also keeping them from sliding around while you are doing ink blending or any other techniques using stencils. All right, let's get into the video. There is thousands and thousands of different types of stencils. There's small ones like this. There are 6x6. There are bigger ones, then there are longer ones like these, then there's 12x12 stencils. There is tons of different stencils that you can get. And what I like to do is, because I like to do card making, which is pretty much ink blending or, you know, simple things like that, I don't really use a lot of different pastes and gels and things on my cards. So, and then I also like to do a lot of mixed media. So what I like to do is have two separate stencils for designs that I like to use on both. So this one I like to use on card making and also mixed media. This is one of my favorite stencils to use on mixed media, but I have one somewhere that is all gunky with paste and gel and different things like that, because when I'm in my mode of creating, I don't stop and clean my stencils properly. So it's easier for me to just have two different stencils. That way I have one that I know is clean and nice for when I want to make a card with it. So that's maybe tip number one, that if you like, you know, different designs for different things, to get two different ones. They're roughly between like $3 and $7 depending on the company. So I think it's worth the investment, especially if you are like me. You know, you don't take the time to clean them properly as you go. But I do have a tip also, and I've been trying to do this lately, is you have a, let me move these out of the way, a container full of water. This is like warm water. You can put soap in it if you please. And when you're done using the stencil, you wipe it off and slip it in the water until you are done creating. And then that way it makes for cleaning up your stencils a lot easier in the end. Alright, so when I'm just using inks, sprays, that sort of thing, I like to have either baby wipes or paper towels, and then if it's a paper towel, I like to spritz it with a little bit of water, and then you can clean up your stencil very easily, just like this. And then that way it is nice and clean for your next project. Alright, another cleaning tip I have, if you have any stubborn ink on your stencils that just kind of won't come off, I like to use StazOn cleaner. And what I do is I first make sure there's not a lot of StazOn on there. Then I just kind of pounce it around. And then I will go in and wipe off any ink that needs to be wiped off. A nice clean stencil for your next project. Alright, so sometimes we like to create, and like I said before, I always tend to wreck my stencils. As you can see here, I have tons of paint on it. But the tip that I have for this, if your stencils get like this, if you have a lot of modeling paste on them, paints and things like that, I use Goof Off. And I know this is something that some people will probably not want to use, but I do suggest using gloves, and I do this outside. And what I do is I squirt on a ton of it onto the stencil, let it sit for a little bit, and then I'll go in with a scraper or something and scrape off all of the paint and gunk that is on the stencil. A stencil that is more intricate, it's a little bit more tedious to get in all of those places. But if you really love a stencil, especially some that I have that you can't buy anymore, I try and save them with the Goof Off. I've been doing this for years. But like I said, it is very smelly. Probably one of the smelliest products that I own. So I do use it outside, and also use gloves because it is very strong, so you don't want to irritate your skin. And then again, I spray it on, I let it sit, and then I scrape it off like that. So that is maybe another tip if you really love a stencil, you can't get it anymore, and you cannot get yourself to throw it away. You want to try and save it. Goof Off is your friend. I've saved many of stencils using this product. Maybe there's something else better out there, but this is what I find that works really, really well because it breaks down all of the paint and paste and things on the stencil. And for the most part, it keeps the stencil really nice. It doesn't mess up the stencil. All right, another cleaning tip is, I cannot seem to find mine, but if you have one of those nail scrubbers, I have one specifically just for cleaning my stencils. You can lightly brush over your stencil, clean off all of the gunk that is on there, and that really helps as well. I wish I did have my the brush to show you guys, but I think you guys probably have already seen that technique, but I just wanted to throw it in this video so that it is all in one place. So again, a little nail brush, you can get them probably for like $1 or something, and kind of run it in some soapy water and scrub off any excess gunk that is on the stencil. All right, with all of the tips on cleaning your stencils, keeping them clean, maintaining them, and that sort of thing, I am going to talk about keeping stencils in place when you are doing your stenciling. I know this can be frustrating at times because there is a few different things that we can do to help keep the stencils in place, but if you don't know about these, then sometimes using your stencils can be a bit frustrating, because if you're trying to get really nice lines and your stencil moves, it's very irritating and frustrating because then you have to start all over. So hopefully this helps in some way. All right, the first tip I have is, again, none of these I'm claiming to be mine. I've seen them in various videos, or I have done them myself. So what I'm going to do is, so I cut down a bunch of cardstock. This is just regular cardstock. And then I have some purple repositionable tape. And if I can find the end here, I don't know about you guys, but no matter what, I always have a hard time finding the end of tape. All right, you take some, you flip over your stencil and your cardstock, and you tape the back of it, This is going to help keep your stencil in place as you are doing your ink blending. And then you can take some more and tape down the sides just like this. Just like this. Okay, so the back one is going to help keep the stencil in place on the cardstock, and then these ones are going to help keep the stencil in place on your work surface. All right, so I'm going to take some Oxide ink to show you guys. Just really quickly kind of show you guys that this works very well. It's pretty good. All right, so not the best blending job, but I'm just going to show you guys. And you can always save those for later. So, see? All right, the next tip is using light tack repositionable adhesive. There might be other brands out there, but this is the one that I have. It's PIXIE spray. It is amazing. I love using this for a little bit more intricate stencils. It helps keep them in place on the cardstock. So what you do is you turn over your stencil, then I give it a little bit of a shake. I don't know if you're supposed to or not. Directions, I don't really read. And I do have, I've used this in lots of videos. But what you do is you spray it on, and then you let it dry for about a minute, and then you will have a nice semi-tacky back of the stencil. It tended, when I first used it, it didn't seem like it was going to work very well, but I was very surprised at how well it held on to the cardstock. So I'm just going to wait just a minute more, and then I will get my cardstock ready. And you can use the tape and the spray in conjunction, especially if you have a very, very intricate a very intricate stencil that you want to use. Maybe something like this that has parts that will come up if you're doing like ink blending or something, that you want it to stick really well to the cardstock. All right, I think that's been maybe a minute. We're just going to take it and try to get it on there straight enough. Press it down. I'm gonna use this. Make sure that it's on there. And as you can see, it's not going anywhere. So really nice. We're gonna go back in with, I'm gonna grab a bigger brush here. And maybe a brighter color. And we're gonna go in. And these are makeup brushes. If you are not familiar with that technique, I will share that in a little bit. So there you go. Perfect. And you can always use it a few times. It does stay sticky for a few times, but see, it doesn't stick to my hand, but it stuck really, really well to the paper. So when I first tried it, I was very surprised that it worked as well as it did. So I'm going to just clean my stencil here. I'm going to use the Make Art Station and also the purple tape to hold down my stencil here. And I did already do this, but my camera it shuts off every 25 minutes or so, and I didn't realize that it was that time. So I kept going and I didn't realize. So we are doing this again. All right, so I'm going to hold down the stencil to the paper with the purple tape. And then I'm going to flip it over and hold down the stencil and the paper with the magnets here. These are very strong magnets. And for this stencil, I'm going to do a swiping motion instead of like an ink blending circular motion that I would normally use for ink blending. So it's not going to be perfect, and I think it's crooked. That's okay. I'm just going to swipe. Move this one a little bit so I can get a little bit over there. There we go. And let me show you guys. Perfect. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you found it helpful, please give it a thumbs up. And if you are new to my channel, I hope you subscribe and hit that bell so you're notified every time that I upload a video. And I want to thank you guys so much for watching, and I will catch you guys later. Bye!